we can start rolling.
Cheers.
My brother, let me welcome to the show.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. Thanks for honoring the invitation, man.
Anytime, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I was looking forward to this conversation because of the type of mindset that you operate with.
Yes.
And I want to take this moment before we start, before I tell you more about our guest. I want to say thank you for subscribing on this channel. And thank you for following us on TikTok. It really means a lot. We are now on 600 subscribers, I think, as we're shooting. So thank you so much. And 10,000 followers on TikTok. Thank you so much for that. And today I'm sitting with Thapelo. He's a serial entrepreneur here in Bloemfontein, running his business within the proximity of the University of the Free State. So today I just want to have a conversation with an entrepreneur and see how we unpacking their mindset.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. Bro, how are you feeling?
I'm actually feeling kind of nervous, but I'm happy I'll be sharing my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
I think that's what matters.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and this is going to be a question that I'm going to ask you as the interview goes. But if in case I forget about it, I want to ask you this question. How do you get to do things despite you feeling nervous to do them? You feeling fearful to do them? I was actually reading a book yesterday that says like people that have just got ahead in life, they go against the fear anyway.
Yes.
You know. So I want us to break that question in your context.
Cheers.
Yeah. And compliments of the new season, my brother.
Compliments of the new season.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to this year?
I'm looking forward to making more money.
I'm with you.
Basically going broader on the market side as well, getting more clients and growing the establishment. Yes.
And I want us to take this conversation back to your childhood. How does life start unfolding for you when you become conscious? What are some of the things that are actually happening that you recall that maybe have shaped the type of man that you are today? How do you grow up? Who raised you, and what's your family structure?
Okay, so I think I'll start by introducing myself fully. So
For sure.
My name is Refilwe Mpelehe Thapelo Khali from Pretoria. I grew up in I wouldn't say a poor family, but we were kind of okay, considering the situation I was in when I grew up. So I stayed with my mother, my dad, my grandfather, and my grandmother. So my grandfather he was also a hustler. So I think he's one of the people who inspired me as I grew up, because one of the things that I remember was the current shop that I have back at home. I once asked him for 50 cents back in the days, and that guy gave me like 20 rands. And he was like, "No, man, ke shop go hey, no, And from there on, I was sparked to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, ko re le magorot mana go ka se da batla go botsa gore I'm fan from Kale. Anale chisahel. So I started properly hustling when I was in primary school. It started with me selling your Avon products, your forever living products. And as time went by, as I moved to high school, I met a teacher. Her name is Tambudzai Gutsira. She's currently based in the United States. She's originally from Zimbabwe, and she's one of the people that played a major role in my entrepreneurship journey. Because when I went to high school, I started selling Greenweld. So Greenweld is a herbal product that's one of the great competitors of Forever Living. So from there, we moved from selling Greenweld to joining pyramid schemes like what you call this, Triple M. And from there, I started selling food at school. So what happened was we had a market day. I think you know what a market day is. Each and every school has a market day. So with our market day, me and my two friends were the ones that won. Basically, we were the ones that made more sales. So considering that we had won at school, I decided, no, how about I do this at home? Because we also had a shop, a spaza shop back at home that was not fully functional. So as I was in high school and we had won this market day, I was like, no, let me try selling food at this spaza shop during the weekends. And I think that's where everything started taking off. Yeah, because from there on, I moved from selling food to owning a funeral parlor. From owning a funeral
You
parlor,
owned the funeral parlor?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. There was a time I was a 50% shareholder of a funeral parlor named Memorable Doves of Peace. It was one of the youngest at the time and one of the most unique, because our service was unique. It was not just a funeral service. We brought value. We brought value with our service. So yeah, I think that's where it started. And yeah, here I am today, running one of the best student companies, one of the longest running student companies in the university space today.
Yeah. So what are some of the challenges you face as a child? Like intrinsically, do you suffer, or what do you suffer from? Do you suffer maybe from confidence? Do you have those issues? Do you suffer maybe from feeling of belonging? Yeah, tell me some of the things that go inside, which becomes like challenges for you as you're growing up.
So as I was growing up, I think one of my challenges was a feeling of belonging, considering that my parents didn't buy me the kind of label that I wanted, or maybe the kind of clothes that I wanted. I never had the opportunity to be bought in a labeled, maybe a labeled brand. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things. That's one of the challenges that made me stand up and make it for myself, because I bought my first label shoe when I was in high school. So yeah, I think that was one of the challenges.
Yeah. As you grow up, do you think servicing people was you overcoming the feeling of belonging? Take me in depth of that issue or challenge. Now you have a feeling of belonging. How does, because other people, they get to have challenges and they lead them astray. By astray, I mean they lead them into um, um, bad scenarios. Like they end
Yes,
up taking substances. They end up,
yes,
being victim of that, trying to overcome this.
yes. So
So for you, how did you overcome it?
I think I've been a character that believes in looking for positivity in each and every negativity as I've been growing up. So me,
Who trains that? Is there anyone who trains that? Who train you to actually look for positivity?
I think the people I surrounded myself with as I grew up, because I'm a firm believer that as a human being, you need to have one or two mentors that are going to keep mentoring you as your as you keep growing in life. Those people don't have to be there throughout the life. Your mentor can change from time to time, depending on the situation that you are and maybe the kind of challenges that you are facing. So he ne ke hola, ke hodile mo pela batho ba e leng horeng ke ba baholo and ne ba le mo strateng he nka e beya beya. Basically they were streetwise. So I got the opportunity to have this the school of life generally. So
I love it. I love
yes,
how
the
you put
school
it.
of life. Yeah. So on a daily basis, maybe I'd have someone who's nurturing me, who's grooming me. And I think that's where I get that perspective of looking for a positive in each and every negativity.
Mm.
Yes.
So when you go into business by yourself, because you're saying you had business scenarios at your
Yes.
home, like there was a shop at your home growing
Yes.
up, right? So I'm pretty sure like there are some of the things that you get told maybe I can call them tools, like the
Yes.
tools that you now going into your own businesses
Yes.
with these tools that you have been equipped with from home. Tell me
Yes.
about those tools. What are some of the few? Because you know, I love this conversation because I love this conversation because for selfish reasons, bro.
Yeah.
We can have this conversation over a coffee somewhere.
Yes.
But for the benefit of the community.
Yes, true.
You know, so I love this conversation because I'll be asking questions that are relevant to me, most importantly. So to other hustlers, or what you call hustlers, I call them like entrepreneurs. They're also gonna benefit. So
True.
let's talk about these tools that you got home and you get into to business with.
So my grandmother was also an entrepreneur.
Mm.
She used to sell your acha. She used to sell fruit and vegetables. She used to sell curtains. She used to sell a whole lot of different type of things.
Mm.
So the equipment that I got from basically, let's say, my background was you need to work hard for each and everything. That's one of the equipment that I got. Basically, you need to do for yourself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's any type of materialistic equipment that I got or anything like that. But generally, in this context, the equipment that I got was you need to do for yourself. And them not buying me labeled clothes or branded clothes was also a way of equipping me to making sure that I'll do for myself. And I think one of the equipments also that I got, or the motivation, was my grandmother also used to pay me when after waking, maybe after helping her, she used to give me that little something. And I think that little something is what motivated me even more to keep pushing and to keep maybe being in this space. Because where there's money, I think as soon as you understand how money works, then you'll understand how entrepreneurship works. As soon as you understand that you need to go out and maybe do something for money, that's where you'll understand how entrepreneurship works. In this time and generation, our youth doesn't take the well, how can I put it? Our youth doesn't know, or maybe doesn't prioritize that you need to work for yourself. Basically, our youth waits to be spoon-fed, if I should put it like that. So it's very important for you to know how money works, and for you to know that you need to work for money. Understand? I think that's one of the equipments that I grew up with. I don't know if I'm answering your question properly.
Yeah, no, don't worry. You're gonna answer this question. I'm gonna put it in all context. I'm gonna put it in all context. Man. So I call them tools.
Yeah.
So I'm also coming from a almost similar context that you come from. So my grandfather was the richest man was one of the richest men in the village.
Wow.
So but what I see and what I realized going into business, one of the tools that I didn't get directly from him, but I got it from reading the environment. What I suddenly saw, I could only see the blueprint of what he used to have.
Yes.
Right. We couldn't enjoy the systems that he created. Yes. We couldn't benefit from them.
Yes.
Right. So going into business, I get into business with this tool that I'm going to run my business so they benefit my kids, they benefit their kids.
Yes.
Do you understand that theory?
Yes.
Now it brings me into theory of I'm getting into a business with the idea or a mindset tool that when I get into business, I'm creating generational wealth. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So these are some of the things that I'm asking you, like for you, like these are mindset tools.
Yes.
What are some of these things that you get taught at home? Like hard work, I love it so much because it answers the question that that you also talked that I ask, and remuneration, which is you getting paid.
Yes.
They sort of enticing your mind into money, like
Yes.
and all that. So what else? And yeah, I wasn't looking for the ones that are physical. Maybe they give you
Yeah.
a car and all. And what else?
So my grandfather was also was a hard worker, ne? And he managed to leave a legacy behind. So my family is well known from where I come from. My grandfather was a boiler maker. So he managed to acquire a farm for us. But as you are saying, you're not benefiting.
Yeah.
So I'm also not benefiting from the farm because of the deterioration rate it went from as soon as he passed on. So me going out on a daily basis to go and hustle, to go and be an entrepreneur out there, is me wanting to continue the legacy as well.
I see.
Taking from where he left and making sure that I continue with the work that he has done so far.
Okay, let me put this as another question. So now you get into business,
Yes.
and you have customers, you have clients,
Yes.
you have people that are actually helping these services to be distributed into people. And then what are some of the things that maybe you get a hint, or maybe what can I say? Like, you just have this thought popping out that actually I used to do this at home.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. Tell me about like some of those things, like where you get I don't know if should I call it epiphany, where you get that thing, or this thing. I
Yeah.
didn't know that I was learning it that time.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the things that you learned indirectly.
So basically, when the clients would come and my grandmother would maybe receive them in a warm way.
Yeah.
Like the reception of speaking to people. I think that's one of the most important things that I learned. How to speak to different customers.
Love it,
What
bro.
to say to different customers, because my grandmother was a funny person, but very strict. So when it comes to client to customer care, the customers knew very well that, you see, that grandmother is a great grandmother. She'll give you the best treatment, but do not go onto the bedside. So I think customer care was something that I was learning as I was growing up, but was not aware that this is actually customer care. Making sure that you give the customer what they want, making sure that you find out if the customer is well satisfied, making sure if the customer needs maybe anything more, you understand? So sometimes back then I'd even remind my granny maybe that, why didn't you give them a certain plastic? And she'd say no, because they bought certain type of vegetables and because they stay just around the corner, stuff like that. Knowing your client, basically customer care in general, that's one of the most important things I've learned, because there's some experiences that I encounter and I go back to then. I realized, oh, this is how you solve a problem. This is how you convince a client. Maybe a client was looking for pumpkin, and my grandmother would convince them to take butternut. You understand?
If the pumpkin is
not there.
Yeah, I see.
So that's one of the things that I learned. Basically, being able to convince a customer if something they need is not there, or maybe being able to make them buy more. You understand? So that's one of the most important things that my grandmother and grandfather taught me. I'd say it's one of the tools.
No, I love them. Customer care, and yeah, the selling skill, like convincing someone that you can take this, we don't have this.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that so much. And you've gained confidence in what you do, like being a hustler.
Yes.
Right? I want to ask this question, referencing back at home as well. What are some of the skills that you've gained confidence in learning in this time that you see that they you've gained confidence in them that possibly these skills they can work? I'm asking this question because this interview is gonna stay here on YouTube for a longest time.
Yes.
And maybe we're talking about a decade, or maybe like their whole lifetime, right?
Yes.
And there will be someone that's looking this interview like for the first time, or maybe in 10 years, let's say in 10 years time, and they wanna learn skills, but they don't know which skills they can learn in these 20 years that we are living in. What are some of the skills that you have confidence that if people can learn, they can actually make a better life for themselves in right now?
So it's communication skills,
Mhm.
and
Why communication?
because it's very important for you to communicate. If you don't have communication skills, there won't be any communication. So you won't be able to know what the client needs,
Mm,
and you won't be able to know maybe how to get it from the particular supply.
mm,
So communication skills, communicating completely, collaterally, and clearly
mm,
is one of the skills that I'd say it's also important to have as an entrepreneur.
mm,
And secondly, a critical, how can I put it? A critical thinking, maybe a critical thinking mindset.
I love that.
I'd say it's also a skill, because if you can think about something critically, so think about the outcomes, think about the risks, maybe just critical thinking. For example, if this book were to fall, maybe it would open a certain page. That's critical thinking.
Mhm.
What would the page include inside? That's critical thinking. Basically, having different perspectives of the situation or scenario. I'd
Mm,
say that that's a skill.
mm,
And what else would I add on? I'd say also one of the skills that's important, but it falls under communication skills, is listening skills. It's very important for you to listen. I grew up as a listening, as a ke hotse ke le ngwana a utlwellang. Listening skills is very important, because you'll be able to understand and maybe get the drift of what the next person knows and needs.
mm.
So it's
Communication.
communication skills that
Yeah.
falls under communication skills,
Mm.
critical thinking skills, and yeah.
All right. So there are many people as well out there who call themselves a hustler.
Yes.
How do you define a hustler? What is a hustler for you? And the reason I'm saying put that definition is because I see you, bro, and I see the progress that you've made in this space.
Yes.
So you've been for people that, yeah, I know you guys have no idea how we know each other. So I see this guy every day, like in the street. When I'm going up and down, he's also going up and down. And from the time I saw you to where you are now, you have made so much progress as an
Yes.
individual. So I'm asking this question in confidence, because there's with confidence, because there's a someone who consider themselves as a hustler, but they're not making a progress. You know,
Yes.
they're not being progressive. When I wrote this book, I wrote it from looking at myself and people like you that make progress, and then
Yes.
what is it that makes people progressive, and what is it that has made me progressive, right? So what defines a progressive hustler in your words?
So in my words, I'd say a progressive hustler is someone who wakes up each and every day, who sells,
Mhm.
comes back with or without sales, but they still continue. It's a
Yeah.
hustler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go out there with your product or your brand or whatever that you are selling.
Mm.
You try selling it and you don't sell, but you continue doing it.
Santsane go boela hape
Yeah,
moo.
o sa tsoga o bolela hape. That's a true definition of a hustler. A hustler is someone who sells anything, if I can put it that way. But a hustler is someone who'll make ways, or who'll make plans to have something going on. You understand? So a hustler is not someone who'll just do it for a month, but a hustler is someone who'll do it consistently. So even if you're changing products, I might wake up tomorrow selling a book, I might wake up tomorrow selling a mirror, I might wake up tomorrow selling podcast equipment. But for as long as I keep on doing it and continue doing it, that defines me as a hustler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being just relentless.
Yeah, being just relentless.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a hustler is not just about the money.
What is it about also?
It's about the inner drive, man.
You spoke about that actually. I was going to talk about it. The burning desire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's very important for you to have a burning desire. You see, most people say you need to make money when you're selling, or maybe when you're an entrepreneur. I mean, that's obvious. That's an obvious thing. There's no one who'd go out there to sell and make a loss. Each and everyone who goes out there, they sell to make a profit. But being a hustler is not always about money. Being a hustler is about the next person that you are going to render your service to.
I love
Being
that.
a
Yeah.
hustler is about solving the problem to the next person. Being a hustler is about people coming back to you and making you feel like, you know what, you own something of their lives. You understand? That's what makes a hustler. Hence, I'm saying a hustler is not just hustling is not just about money. Yes, we hustle for money, but once you focus just on the money and you don't focus on each and everything that surrounds the money, then yeah, I wouldn't say you're a hustler.
Yeah, I want to stop here for a minute, bro, and thank you for. I know we're gonna talk about your business, and thank you for what you're doing. I love your mindset, your approach into it. I was reading this book, 50 Ways Kids Can Make Money. It's a book that I bought. I bought this book. So it's a kid's book,
Yeah.
right? It defines what's an entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
why you should, how you should make these ways of me. So what it was saying, business. It's when you get into business, you're actually making the world a better place.
Thank you.
Giving the world, bridging the gap that's been existing in the world.
Yes.
Now, if you're selling water, we no longer have to go to the taps.
Yes.
You understand? And
Yes.
get water. We can just pick up a bottle and we just have water.
True.
So you make a bridge, you keep making that. And when we have cloths, we have mics, the world is a better place because we can communicate now. We can communicate to people.
Thank you.
So I love your approach into it. But then what are some of the things that you see? Like you said, your company's been here for some time, and you're still standing.
Yes.
And surely there are people that started with you with their own ideas,
Yes.
but they are nowhere to be found right now. Or
Yes.
maybe they've given up, like you're saying, even if you don't make a sale, you santsane o tlo tsoa o like
O zama,
o
o
tlohela
lwela,
hape.
yeah.
Yeah,
True.
understand. But you're still standing. What are some of the things that you see from other hustlers which you like? They make them to come short, or maybe what are some of the traits or your
Yeah.
character traits that you see from them? You like they're not gonna last. If someone wanna stand for a long time like you,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you see in yourself and you don't see in them?
Okay. Firstly, I'd say I think it's very important for you to know where you come from. So don't just be influenced by the situation and each and everything that's happening around you. Because if that's the case, if an Air Force is trending, for example, if Air Force shoe is trending, you'll want the Air Force shoe. Yeah, because you don't know where you come from. That's the first thing. If you know where you are coming from, I think you stand a greater chance of being in the space for quite a longer period. Why do I say so? If you know where you come from, you're not going to compare yourself with the next person. You're not going to compare yourself with the next business. Most businesses compare themselves with the next business. You understand? Because Comfort is selling shoes, I'm going to sell shoes. You understand? And you might find that Comfort is selling shoes because of their own personal reason. You understand? You might find that someone is offering storage for their own personal reason. Then here I come. I'm influenced by what happens, the surrounding and situation one goes through. That's what makes a lot of people maybe have a shortfall of their business.
So they catch up with the trends. They look at what's happening and
Yes.
without a base.
Yes.
Because you are right. I actually had Comfort here. He told me that his love to sell sneakers and the grip and all these things comes from him loving a grip.
Yes.
Like he grew up without clothes, like
Yes.
proper clothes. And it was like, my drive is just to like
He's
get,
basically serving his purpose.
bro, and his drip is lit. Every
Yes.
time you see him, like he's always
He's
dripped
always
on.
on point.
Yeah,
Yes, because he's serving his purpose. That's in him.
that's in him.
You understand?
Yeah.
Even if he wouldn't make a sale maybe for a single day, he'll still go back tomorrow because he's a hustler. So knowing where you come from, for example, we live in a time where it's all about fashion and everything. Most of the people in business go by fashion and go by what, like basically what's going on around them. You understand? Most business owners want to start spending before even making a profit. You understand? We want to buy iPhones, we want to buy clothes, and that's one of the things that makes a lot of businesses maybe a shortfall. One of the other things I'd say makes businesses have a shortfall would be maybe not having the proper missionaries in your company or maybe in your business. It's very important.
What do you mean by missionaries?
By missionaries, you know what a missionary is, Miss Ne?
You saying machinery
Missionary.
or missionaries?
Missionary.
Okay, so these are your soldiers.
Yeah, these are your soldiers.
Yeah.
It's very important for you as a business person to have missionaries because these are the people that are going to keep you going when time is difficult. The kind of friends you have around yourself when doing business are the ones who are going to be there when your business is either going down or maybe having challenges. For example, if I have friends that like spending, once I make a profit, they're going to convince me maybe to spending my profits.
That's so true.
You understand?
Yeah,
Because
that's
they're
so
my
true.
friends. We share, we live together. I mean, it's friendship after all. And if they see me flourishing, if they see me making money, they'd want me to share the money or maybe to have fun with them. You understand? So if you have the proper missionaries, it's not going to be easy for you to be overspending because most young business people spend their money on expensive alcohol, expensive groove, and that's an honest shortfall for business. So I'd say uh, having missionaries, having a basically knowing where you are going,
Yeah.
not easily being influenced, and also being disciplined. Yeah, those I'd say are the most important things, or maybe the things that I see that make other business people maybe not belong in the space, and
They don't have discipline.
they don't have discipline. Yeah, basically, discipline is one of the most important things one needs to have when running a business. You need to be disciplined. Like, you need to be disciplined. If it's raining and you need to open at 8, you need to open at 8. That's discipline. If maybe you are tired and it's not yet time to knock off or maybe get done selling, you must still
there.
yeah, you must still continue. If it's cold, if basically any challenge that comes, you must be disciplined enough to stand and face the challenge. So most business people are not disciplined. Understand?
Yeah, I love these things because I can relate with some of them. Like most of these things that you said, I can definitely approve them on my side. But I want to ask on this: having great, having great missionaries. What are some of the habits that you see with good missionaries? Like you mentioned that you, as a business person, you would make a profit and have these missionaries or people that would say, "Let's go." Now you end up spending the profit. What? Tell me about, maybe even if it's 3 or less, the good habits that you would see from good
From my
missionaries.
and I'll make an example with my missionaries. Ne?
That's perfect.
So my gents know that we support each other. Ne? And as much as we support each other, if how can I put it? If maybe one needs to buy something, or maybe if one is in need of something, ne? It's very important for us to be like on the same ground, ne? For example, if I know one of my friends don't have money, ne? What I'll do, or maybe what how we'll work it out is they know they'll get paid at the end of of working, right? Chomi tsa ka di na tjhelete, they work, we work. After working, that particular friend of mine, even me, after maybe paying them, ne, they still want to maybe pay for their lunch at work, stuff like that. They still maybe want to contribute, you understand? To maybe one of the good days I'm shorting, one of the bad days I'm shorting stock, or maybe there's just a hiccup and I need financial assistance from my friends. They'll still be willing to go an extra mile and assist, you understand? Like, even if when they don't have money, they wouldn't come and say, give us food, or maybe have an expectation. They'd rather say maybe couple of booking, write us in the book, will help you, you understand? And even after helping me, when I pay them, they'll still want to pay their quota, you understand? So that's one of the things that I've seen from my missionaries, that even after paying them, or maybe after rendering a service with them, they still want to put back into the business,
I
as if
see.
as if the business is also theirs, you understand?
I see.
Yeah.
So it's not that thing, Yoguti, because you're selling, maybe let's make an example. Because you're selling quota
Yeah.
and you are my friend, I'm now gonna come and munch for free.
Yes.
I pay.
Yes, you pay. Even if you don't have the money, you pay. And even if you help me, even if those gents help me, maybe at the food truck, maybe I'm having an event, they'll help me. After helping me, I'll pay them, ne? Or maybe as they're helping me, I'd offer them a meal. That'd be good. So they'd be good enough to know how much the meal costed and want to pay it back maybe when they get paid. That's the kind of missionaries I have. I don't know if you understand me.
I do understand. Doing a business, what I love about business is that you can determine your own income. Your own income is determined by the work you're willing to put and
Yes.
the amount of discipline that you're willing to just hold until you see it through, right? So what that means compared to if I can compare like that with being an employee, you cannot multiply your money in a month as an employee. You can like get promoted and earn,
Yes.
right? But if you an employee and you earn 20,000,
Yes.
you're gonna earn that 20,000. You cannot multiply
You
it by
cannot
even if you put
yes.
more work.
Yes, even if you work maybe more hours
More
sometimes,
hours
yeah.
in a short space of time, you cannot like multiply it. But in business,
You can
I can
multiply.
sell as many books, right?
Yeah.
If I maybe want to make let's say 100,000, I sell like 500 copies.
Yes.
Like I determine the money I want
You
by
want.
the product that I'm selling. You understand
Yes.
what I mean? How much work I'm willing to put and how much discipline I'm willing to have to actually see that through. So I'm making that comment to ask this question.
Yes.
What is it that kept you humble in business? Because and still remaining yourself, because when you start making money, you realize as well that, oh, I'm making money in my own terms, you know?
Yeah.
I'm making my money in my, I can go to the restaurant, I can
Yeah.
go and buy those things,
Yeah.
but you don't buy those things. You
Yeah.
just keep yourself grounded.
Yeah.
Where does that coming from? And as well, ladies as well, they do come, they do
Yes.
show up on
True.
your way that,
Yeah.
oh, this guy is actually, making money. He's printing cash basically.
Yeah.
How do you print cash and still stay disciplined?
Okay, so it all goes back to what I said, ne?
Yeah.
You really need to know where you come from and where you're going as an individual. So if you are not convinced enough about your journey, you're going to keep losing focus. But as soon as you know where you are going, where you are coming from, and you know what you want, it's not going to be that easy for you to spend. I think one of the things that keeps me going, or maybe keeps me humble, is how I grew up. So, my grandfather had money. Like he had money. He could afford there are a lot of cars standing right now, go high, that that is evidence that there was money. Yo, when my father was rich, type of things and everything. Di teng ko high, but how I grew up, I think is what makes me stay humble. Knowing who is is what keeps me humble. And one of the other things that I might say keeps me humble is I've had an experience with a lot of maybe a lot of people, a lot of characters, a lot of life situations. I think I've seen the other side of I think I've seen both sides of life. Basically, the lavish side of life and the
humble
yeah,
side of
like
life.
humble side of life. You see, I've seen people make it and I've seen people break it. You understand? I've been in a space where I've seen people be the best in business, but not make it. Like as you are saying, maybe after a period of time, they are no longer there. As I was growing, like I told you, I grew up in a space of I grew up with older people, with the older gens from Kasi. So me growing up with them, I kind of see the different types of life situations, of maybe the different sides of life. So that's one of the things that keeps me humble. No matter how much money I make, I'll still be the same guy. I'll still be humbled. I'll still see the next person for who they are. Yeah. So I think that I think it's a personal thing.
It's a personal thing, right?
Yeah, I would say it's a personal thing, knowing where you come from and knowing where you are going. Because if you don't know where you come from and you start making money, you'll all of a sudden be pompous. Yeah. Bless you.
I see. Thank you, bro. I think we must be honest along the lines of our conversation that entrepreneurship is not easy.
Yes, it's
What you call
definitely not easy.
what you call being a hustler is it's not an easy mission to take.
Yes.
For yourself. In fact, this is what I used to say to some of my friends. I'm like, if I had if I had the traits that make me an excellent employee, I would definitely choose that one because that's
Yes.
the most lenient
Yes.
route that you can take. But
Yes.
taking the otherwise route, it gets brutal.
Yes.
You get into it and you realize how many challenges you have, and some of the things they just look so much impossible
And challenging.
and challenging, right? I'm gonna just make an example. When you start a business, it's firstly birthed in your mind before it's actually taking place around, right? So
Yes.
convincing the people, convincing the customers as well that this is what you need, it's a mission that's almost impossible to achieve. But I want to ask you this question: when things get difficult and you feel like they are beyond your abilities or capabilities, who do you turn to?
I'm so happy to answer
Yeah.
that because I turned to my mentor. Like there was this time when I had a break in when I was doing long distance traveling, when I was transporting luggage from Bloemfontein to Pretoria. And unfortunately, that day I was driving alone. So I made a stop at one of the garages. And when I came back, I realized that, you know what? The kids' bags are missing. So basically, I had a break in at a pit stop. And immediately, what I did, I called that guy to say, Mr. P, this and this is happening. What should I do? And he was like, no, man. Do
Wait,
this.
the bags of your clients,
Yes.
or were missing.
Yes, like I guess sometimes I do long distance logistics. Basically, you can give me your luggage and I can move them. So as I was moving them from Pretoria to Gauteng, 2 students' luggage were stolen. So basically, they broke the window because some were in the car, some were in the trailer. They broke the window, took those bags, on with them. I called this mentor of mine and was like, this happened, this and this happened. And he gave me a whole different perspective of the situation. And I was able to deal with it. I was going to maybe get to the clients without telling them I had the scenario.
Mm.
But he advised me to call the clients, communicate with them there and there immediately, show them what's going on there. You understand?
Mm.
So yeah, I go back to my mentor. That's the first person I'd go back to. I have different mentors, by the way, who mentor me in the different things that I do. And if not my mentor, I run back to my mom. Yeah.
What is love? What I call mindset, this is how I define mindset. So basically, mindset is how you view yourself and you view the world, and how do you actually understand yourself operating in this world, right? So, and that would lead now in you having thoughts. How do you think about this world? How do you feel about this world, which is emotions, right?
Yes.
So it's basically mindset is basically emotions and thoughts, right?
Yes.
Right. So these two things, they get influenced by the belief that an individual have, whether they believe in Allah, believe in God.
Yes.
Yeah. So for you to end up having this mindset, what are some of what do you believe in? What do you believe to be truth about this world?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make an example of of what I'm just saying. There are people that, and I've been working against this, bro, like for so much in my entire
Yeah.
life. There are people that believe they were not made to have certain things because certain things were meant for certain people. And there are people that believe so I had a guy, his name is Tapelo Jonas.
Yes.
Who's Coach TJ. Yeah. He said this thing. He said, if you are in South Africa and you are making less than 100,000, you have a problem.
You have a problem. I saw that.
Yeah, that video made rounds.
Yeah.
So one of the comments I read or picked up around there, someone said, not everyone is going to be rich.
Yes.
But I'm thinking about that one who's not going to be rich. What are they thinking in that community? What are some of their beliefs?
Yeah.
So for you to end up going so hard, getting into a business and all that, when you were born, you were not giving a certificate that
Yes.
Tapelo, you're not gonna be one of those, right?
Yes.
It's unknown.
Yes.
What is it that you believe so much that you think actually qualifies you to be amongst those ones that are gonna be rich or are not do you understand where my question is going?
No, I understand
Yeah.
you. It's true. Not everyone is going to be rich.
That's the scariest line, though.
Yeah, but it's true, man. Let's be honest.
Okay, let's be honest and let's have a conversation around it.
Yeah.
Is it not everyone is gonna be rich because some people don't want to be rich, or it's a law of universe?
No, no one doesn't want to be rich. Everyone wants to be rich. Even someone walking in the streets picking up maybe cans for a living, they want to be rich. You understand? But the kind of mindset that we have is not each and everyone's mindset. Even my mindset might not make me rich. You understand? But not everyone is going to be rich.
So it doesn't. The way you put it, it depends on an individual. It's something that you can change.
Yes, it's something that you can change.
Yeah. So the way it sounded from the comments is like someone was saying some people are just meant not to have something. So when you say it like that, it makes me feel better because I'm like, then if you say it depends on the mindset is something that you can cultivate or maybe refine anytime.
Yes,
You understand what I mean?
True.
Yeah. So where is your beliefs? Do you believe in God? Do you?
So I'm a African Christian.
Okay, what does that mean?
That means I do each and everything the African way, but still believe in God. So I still bend impepho.
Impepho, yeah.
Yeah, I believe in izindlondlo, izinyanya, ancestors.
Badimu.
Badimu, yeah.
Mm.
So I believe in Modimo le Badimo. Hence I'm saying I'm an African Christian.
How's how that journey it's been for you?
It's been a great journey because it's one of the things that maybe have shaped who I am today. Me growing up going to church, me growing up sticking to my African roots,
Mm.
I believe has made me who I am today. Because I stand as a man knowing knowing and knowing where I come from and where my roots lie.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's what I'd say. I'm an African Christian, and yeah, I believe in God, and yeah,
If someone wanna, I don't know, but there's something like while we are talking around mentors,
yeah,
um, if you want to get, I think it's TJ was saying this as well. The fastest way to get something is to look at someone and duplicate what they do,
yes,
right? So if someone is looking at you and they are students, many people that will be students that will
Definitely.
be watching this interview. If someone wants to duplicate your beliefs,
yes.
how do you go about it? So do you wake up? Do you pray for your business? How does that look like?
So now as I was born an entrepreneur, I want I was born an entrepreneur because there's nothing that I don't sell that doesn't sell.
Yeah.
I want.
Yeah.
So I believe in God. Each and everything that I do, I put God first. So each and every sale that I'll make, I'll first invite God
Mm.
and make sure that each and everything I do, I invite God. So I got run business, I got talent.
Yeah.
Because if I had done so, ne,
Mm.
I've been doing business from back in 2015.
Mm.
Yeah, changing the style of business that I'm doing. Basically, changing the style of hustling that I'm doing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Bro, I hear you. Let's get on this. Let's talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, let me put them here.
Yeah, so that I don't even forget.
These are the keys of your businesses right here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your businesses.
Yeah.
You are in the business of logistics.
Yes.
Let's count all the businesses that you are operating. And I have a question to start with all those. You are in logistics, you are
Yes.
in a restaurant,
Yes, I'm in the food industry.
food market. Yeah, okay. And you are in farming.
In agricultural industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else?
In the repatriation industry.
What's that?
Funeral and repatriations.
You still on that?
Yes, I sometimes receive calls to say, we've lost our loved one. Can you please come and help us?
Really?
Yes, and I can't say no because who will help them?
Yeah.
Because there's some people who don't have funeral policies
Mhm.
but believe in cash policies. Like there's someone out there paying a certain life cover. Should it happen that they pass on, they'll have the cash to bury, but not the person to do it. So I do that.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So, like, those are 4 industries you're in?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's very broad. I think it'd be best if I count each and everything that I do.
Mhm.
So I run the Delicacy Eats where we sell food.
Yeah.
I run RT Transport and Logistics, where it's transport and storage.
Mhm.
I do RT Piggery Home, where it's agricultural, where we are just having pigs grown there and sold as they are. We are having a meat ranch, where we sell different types of meats.
Mhm.
We are having a farming solution and livestock sales, where if you are a farmer and you need maybe agricultural advice, you need somewhere to buy livestock, you can come through to us. I also sell fruit and vegetables, frozen fruits and vegetables on a small basis and a large scale. and funeral and repatriation. I also do property development.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the different departments I'm in.
And the opening question to this is Zonke Z10, but one
Yes.
man.
Yeah, one man.
Kanjani, bra? Like how do you do these things all in one? And what is your philosophy in the approach of these businesses? Like how do you make it possible?
So I believe in a value chain business, in a business where we uh in a business where we do each and everything for ourselves. Basically, if it needs to be grown, planted, I believe we need to grow it, plant it. If it needs to be sold, cooked, I believe we need to sell it cooked. Basically, my dream for the Kota business is one day I I I I dream to plant my own potatoes,
Yeah.
my own lettuce,
Mm.
produce my own Russians,
Mm.
produce my own patties. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's the mindset that I have, and
Mm.
the goal that I have. So value chain, basically, with value chain, no one has to like determine your prices along the way.
Mm.
It's from the producer to the consumer.
Mm.
Yeah, so basically with my company, I'm trying to cut the middleman.
I see.
Yeah, I'm trying
Good
to
strategy. Yeah.
I'm trying to cut the middleman. Hence, I'm doing each and everything. You understand? All in good times when the pigs have grown, I know I'll slaughter them. I'll put them into agro processing. Prepare my own bacon. Prepare my own steak that I will be selling at my own restaurant. Yeah, that's the kind of mindset that I have. And one thing that maybe keeps us going as a Refilwe Thapelo Tradings and Projects.
So the Refilwe Thapelo Tradings and Projects is like a
It's
like
an
a
umbrella.
parent.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it's like a parent, and these are subsidies.
Yes, these are the
Okay.
different departments that
Okay.
we operate through. So one of the things that have made us keep going is the missionaries. So I think I'm also good at delegating tasks. So and at maybe spotting how can I put it? I'm good at spotting strong points. Like maybe if you are good in podcasting, and I had a podcast business, I'd give you that to run.
Okay, you're good at collecting good people.
Yeah, I'm good at putting good people together.
Organization skills.
Yeah, organizing skills. So with that, I'm able to run. I'm able to go open my food truck, check it, make sure everything is good. I'm able to have my storage still run. I'm able to. Oh, we also under Refilwe Thapelo Tradings, we also have BFN Fridge Masters, where we buy and sell fridges and we also rent them out. So yeah, me delegating, me being able to spot the right person to do something has kept us going. And considering that we are a student targeted business, that means that we can use students as our employees. So therefore, working with a student is not as difficult as working with someone who has all this experience that they've gotten along the way. Working with a student is also understanding that you're going to give them the relevant experience that they need, the proper experience, the exposure, basically growing with them. So I think that's one of the things that have kept RT Tradings going.
Despite these the skills that you have, amazing skill by the way, I thought we can actually put it as well as on top skills that you can learn for a better future, knowing how to organize, how to put things together. I've been struggling with service of organization. I can organize people, but servicing the organization.
Yes.
Do you understand? I've been struggling with that, but I've dedicated myself into reading around that and educating myself around that. Speaking of education, I want to go back in my mind this question. with these things that you do, and you say your entrepreneur journey started quite early, but you still saw a need to go to university and recently graduate. Congratulations, by the way, my man.
Yes, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
recently graduate. What was the need for you to graduate, or maybe to go to university? Because I think there's a mind out there that says, if I'm making money, why do I still need to graduate? So you stood the test of academics.
Yes.
You know, going to library, doing the submission and all that, and still and still doing business on the other side. Why did you pursue that journey of seeing yourself graduating at the end of the day?
Okay, firstly, because I wanted to have a backup. Fresh from matric, I was making plus minus 60,000 rand a month.
Mm.
So I worked, I think, for a year working on the funeral parlor. But then I realized that, you know what? Should this funeral parlor collapse, what's going to happen with me?
Mm.
So I was like, no, let me pursue my academic journey so that should anything happen tomorrow, I have the security basically.
Mm.
So that's the first thing for backup wise.
Mm.
So if only if my business doesn't succeed, I'll go to the corporate world.
I see.
And then again, one thing that made me want to pursue the academic journey was that I didn't want you to come to my office space and undermine me. And what do I say by that? You know, sometimes imagine a doctor requesting my service,
Mm.
and I'm just a human being in elementary fail. I'm not going to be able to articulate with that doctor. You understand? Basically, I went to go get my degree so that I can be intellectually I can be I can still have my books to back me up.
Mm.
Imagine you are fresh from matric, you don't know the environment of being in the university space, or maybe you haven't furthered your studies, ne? But then again, you must deal with people in the space. You must service people in the space.
Mm.
You understand? Because if you are going to open a business and you want it to be successful, you want people coming to your business at the end of the day being the people that get maybe proper salaries, who are paid properly. So you understand? So how are you going to get to that whereas you haven't been in the same level? Because as much as I'm a hustler, I'm on the same level as someone who works in the office.
Mm.
Therefore, I can convince them to do what? To buy my to opt for my service or buy my product.
Mm.
You understand? So one thing that I'm also looking at, the very same people that I'm attending school with, that I went to varsity with, I believe maybe 20 years down the line will be the same people who will come back and and request for my service. You understand? How's that going to be if I didn't go to school, if I didn't acquire maybe a diploma, a degree? And also another thing is there's some places you won't be able to maybe articulate, like I'm saying.
Mm.
If you are requested to go and pitch, it requires so much skills.
Mm.
Skills you've gained throughout your academic journey. You understand? Someone who pitches and they just ended maybe at matric, and someone pitches with a degree. The one who pitches with a degree is obviously going to have more weight, more content. You understand? Maybe more IQ, if I can put it that way. So that's what made me go to school. And yeah, for my parents.
Mostly do it for your parents.
Yeah.
I do notice in this space. Let's talk about your services, bro. Let's talk about the logistics first. So you help people to move
Yes.
their properties or their belongings from one place to another. How does that work? Now is the time for us to tell my audience there, if they need your services.
Yes.
How does that work?
Yes.
And Yeah, we can go like one business at a time.
No problem. So with the transport and logistics, we rent our service to students mostly. Students moving from one accommodation to another. Students maybe students acquiring furniture. Students maybe moving out. Students students will require transport, but basically a buggy transport. That's the kind of transport we offer. We also offer uh, storage together with the transport. So maybe if you're looking for an accommodation, you don't have somewhere to put your luggage, we offer storage facility. Maybe if you're going home during the holidays, you don't want stress with your luggage be missing, we offer storage facility. Maybe if you're having academic challenges, you need to go home, maybe sort out your things, we offer storage. So yeah, that's it for the transport and logistics. Basically, we offer transport and storage.
And how do they get you on that?
So we have a Google page. We are Refilwe Thapelo, storage and transport. On all social media platforms, we are Refilwe Thapelo Tradings. I think TikTok is RT Tradings Projects, but if you say Refilwe Thapelo Tradings, I'm definitely sure we are going to appear at one of the social medias. Yeah.
Okay. And other businesses?
The other businesses, I have a food truck, a food business named The Delicacy Eats. So the goal behind this was to make sure that students eat healthy food. So we are young people. We love junk. We like junk. Ne? So the Delicacy Eats tries to make healthy junk. So your modern kota, your tacos, your quesadillas, yeah, basically your kasi food but modernized. So what we realized when we opened this back in 2022 was most of the students don't have the time to cook, to prepare themselves food. Some don't even know. So that's why we launched a brand called The Delicacy Eats. Yes.
And where can they find your deli?
So the Delicacy Eats is currently based in Gauteng and here in Bloemfontein. In Bloemfontein, we are based at
You're also operating in Gauteng?
Yes, I have an outlet in Gauteng. So in Bloemfontein, we are based at Unilofts. So at the University of the Free State, there's I think 5 different gates. We are situated at the gate 2.5, which is the pedestrian gate, opposite Unilofts student accommodation. There's a white food truck there branded The Delicacy Eats. That's where we are operating. We operate Monday to Saturday from 8 until 6 p.m. and we sell nothing but good food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the other businesses?
On the other businesses, so it was The Delicacy Eats.
Yeah. And the
transport and logistics.
The storage, and you mentioned the storage as well.
And the storage.
Yeah. The fridges. Let's talk about the fridges.
We have a brand called BFN Fridge Masters, also established in 2022, where we rent out fridges, microwaves, basically fridges and microwaves, bar fridges, medium fridges, and microwaves. This, we realized that most of the students coming into the university space do not afford to buy a fridge and maybe a microwave, and that's one of the necessities one needs for them to have a comfortable, maybe living space as a student. So yeah, we rent out fridges and microwaves. We sell them as well if you need to buy, and we also buy them from the students. Maybe you are traveling back home and you don't want to travel with it back home. We sell it for you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. And when they get on social media and get RT, they can get to contact one person for all these services.
Yes, so
for
you
any
can,
of these services.
Yes, you can just reach out to us on 072 077 8876. So we have different social media platforms for each and every business. But if you go on to Refilwe Thapelo Tradings Projects, on any of them, you'll see or be directed properly to go to the rest of the pages.
I like it, bro. What are some of the challenges that you faced in running these businesses? Yeah, tell me about some of the challenges that you've faced
So
generally.
I've faced capital challenges,
Mhm.
resource challenges, and maybe uh, law enforcement challenges because there's some things you cannot do if you do not comply,
Mm,
like selling food. You cannot sell food if you don't comply.
mm.
So that was one of the greatest challenge for the delicacy eats.
Wait, what was the involvement of law? Was it the ISPS? I mean SAPS things?
No, it's health compliance.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
I
for
see.
you to sell food, you must be health compliant, and being health compliant requires all these necessary things. Like you need to have a food truck that's clean as new.
Mhm.
And you can imagine starting a business with nothing. Pella, I started under a tent, so you can imagine the challenges that one had to face
Mm.
as starting the business. So yeah, uh, capital challenges, resource challenges, and I wouldn't say capital falls under resource because there's capital and there's resources that you need to operate on a daily basis, like operational resources. You
Mhm.
understand? Yeah.
Mhm.
For example, for you to start this podcast, you needed maybe capital to start the business, but you need, I believe you have operational costs, or maybe you need operational resources now and then if you don't own the resources.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the three main things that I'd say. Oh, maybe it's the resources, it's the capital, and the compliance.
Mm.
Yeah.
I see.
As well as transporting the luggage from province to province. You need to comply. You don't just transport.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a number of luggage that you can carry. You understand?
Mm.
For example, I wish to have a truck that would uh, transport these luggages for me.
Mm.
But because of the certain compliances that are there that I need to comply, I cannot
Mm.
because I require certain resources. For now, I'm just using a buggy, trailer, outsourcing a panel van here and there. So yeah.
Yeah, and for someone who's sitting right there and wanting to start a business, in closing, what would be your advice to them?
They should start where they are and with what they have. And even if someone is doing it, you can always do it in a better way.
Mm.
Don't say because someone is doing it, I'm not going to do it. You can always do it, but in a better way. So to all the viewers of Asvaye, to all the entrepreneurs, I'd say start where you are, start with what you have, with uh, everything at your disposal. So don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for funding. Don't wait for anything. You can start. I started with nothing. I started with each and everything that I had. And yeah, here we are today.
Yeah, I'm glad you're making that point out because some people can actually hook themselves off when they hear this conversation that, oh, it makes sense where you are and how you're operating. I mean, you had this grandfather and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you're also making that disclaimer that you started off nothing.
Yeah,
And
when I started my business, Refile Tapelo Tradings and Projects, I moved from making 60,000 with my business partner to making maybe 500 rand a month. You understand?
How was that transition?
Yo, it was not
Emotionally,
easy, man.
psychologically.
It was not easy. I remember I took a break from social media and all of that, but it was not easy, man. Like I was miserable for the longest of time until I bought my 1400 Nissan bike.
Mm.
I think that's when I found closure because you can imagine from driving funeral palakas to a 1400 Nissan bike.
Mm.
But for me, it was like I got it all back when I
Mm.
got that first car of mine.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, I love that, bro. What did you think about TJ's view because I get this question when you talking about making 60,000 a month. That's
Yes.
close to 100K, right?
Yes.
What did you think of what you were saying? Like if you're in South Africa and you're making less than 100K, you have a problem.
You know, always when I drive on the road, ne,
Yeah.
I see this car written Coach TJ, and I always shout him, Coach TJ, Coach TJ.
Yeah.
And I've had an opportunity to listen to him speak at one of these events on campus, ne?
Mhm.
And I'm proud to say he's right. When he was saying if you're making less than 100K, you have a problem. I was like, okay, he's know what he knows, like what he's speaking about. Now I'm not making 100,000 a month,
Mhm.
but I'm telling you now, my daily goal is to make 100,000 rand a month. Like I go out there with that energy of making
I love it.
100,000 a month.
I love it. And I think that's what he also intended, that
Yeah.
he would spark the or he would ignite
Yes.
the attitude
Yes.
that you actually see that it's a possible thing.
Yes.
Mm,
Yes. So each and every day I go out there, ke tibisa 100,000.
mm,
Ke tibisa 100,000. Even if ke a itse gore nka se e tshwara 100,000 eo, but ke a e tibisa. Ke tlo e tshwara.
yeah.
Ke tlo e dira because I can see the potential of making that 100K a month.
Mm.
Yeah, there's businesses, man, making about 2 million a month.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. That's how I viewed. But
And
you
I
know,
mean black businesses, like businesses. Like
Mm.
on Almapara, about 2 so running black businesses, making guap like too much money.
yeah.
Yeah, so it is possible. None of my jita gets ke hotse le bona ba ile gore ba ira Zaka.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zaka street Zaka. Sing that.
I see bakgotsi ba bokhetha ke.
No, man, no.
I
Na
hear you.
shapan thotse straight.
I hear you, bro.
Magodzumela ma straight.
I love what you're saying, because with other viewers, and yeah, you guys, please don't attack my podcast.
Yeah.
We have no problem about. We have no problem in hosting these guests that we have, and whatever they say in my podcast, I can safely say that if you come in this podcast, you definitely coming to learn. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say things for the sake of virality or something. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say it for the sake of you being ignited to see things in a certain way. So what you said, and how you viewed, I like it, because when TJ was saying that, I was here, bro, and
Yeah.
I'm not making 100K a month, but that actually sparked something in me,
Yes.
and it made me see also the possibilities. I've been in other countries. I also know, like, the laws of economics are not
Yes.
different. The laws of trade are not different. There's a
Yeah.
price that can be named in the US that if you're making this less than this month, like this much a month, you actually missing something out. And there's another question that I wanted to actually ask.
Yes.
Let's talk about money. Making money, it gets easier when you understand the science of it. That
Yes.
you sell in return of something. You sell, you get money in return of something. That's basically selling, right?
Yes.
That process is quite easy. And then let's talk about the management of it and the multiplication of it.
Yeah.
How it's been for you, and what do you do?
So one of the greatest advices I've received from my mentors
Mhm.
is to reinvest in myself. Ne?
Yeah.
I'm someone who gets happy when I've reinvested my money in the business.
Okay.
So I'll explain how I work. What I'm trying to say is, if maybe I make a simple 15K and that's my profit, ne? I'll feel so bad and I'll feel so foolish and I'll feel so stupid if I go spend it maybe on alcohol or clothes or maybe nice time or nice life. Like, I won't be happy. That doesn't buy me happiness. If Zaga, I go to buy takeaway or something, I don't feel as happy as I need to be. I'm at my happiest when I reinvest in myself. I remember this other time I sold one of my food trucks. Ne? And I invested in my piggery home. So we moved from having simple 5 female pigs to having something like 20 female pigs to now producing between 20 and 60 pigs. That made me happy. You understand? I don't have the money, but I can see where it went.
Yeah.
Ne? Why am I saying that? Because why is it important to reinvest in yourself? Ne? As you reinvest in yourself, basically I have a mindset that if I want to enjoy, ne, I want to enjoy for the rest of my life. If I'm going to buy an iPhone, I must buy iPhones for the rest of my life. When iPhone releases, I must buy an iPhone, no matter how long they release. If I want to drink Hennessy, I believe I must drink Hennessy for the rest of my life. I have a belief here, if you can buy it twice, you don't afford it. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say each and every money that I make, ne, I try by all means to take it back. Because
Plow
business,
it back.
to plow it back. Ne, because business works in such a sense that if you want it to support you and support itself, you are going to have a problem. So if you want the business money to support the business, basically start the cycle all over again, stock, restock, and have the cycle going. If you want if you want the business to maintain you and itself,
Your lifestyle.
and your lifestyle, you're going to be in deep trouble. With business money, it's very important for you to be disciplined. Business money belongs to businessman, ne? So I believe I'd rather pop out some money every day or every month, ne? To grow my business rather than my business to give me a monthly salary. I understand. That's the kind of business, the mindset I have in my business. Because to be honest, ne, a business must run for about 5 years of just saving. We open businesses because we want batlazaka. Onyakuja, onyakupatala rent, onyakuirang. That's not the reason why we are supposed to open businesses. You are supposed to open businesses and be in entrepreneurship to make money. I don't know if you understand me.
To create cash flow.
To create cash flow. So, according to me, each and every business was supposed to maybe start seeing their profits after 5 years. Imagine, ever since you had a baba, ne? Imagine if you were saving till to this day. Don't you think you'd have maybe an outlet somewhere in the mall?
I hear you. Those are some things that cross my mind. Yeah.
Imagine you saved throughout from the first day you opened your business. Yeah. I mean, it's not possible, ne? But I'm just saying, just imagine. By me saying this is me saying that money management in a business is very important. You need to know how to use your money, when to use your money, where to take your money. Yeah, you don't just buy, sell, and chow the profits. On a daily basis, you must try to look for cheaper suppliers, something cost minimization, stuff like that. You understand? You don't just make money and chow it, but you must reinvest in yourself. I don't know if I
you do answer that. Actually, I love it so much, and I think to anchor on that, I don't know if you know Jim Rohn, but there's a guy by the name of Jim Rohn. He put it better for me. It's like financial freedom is basically living from the income of your own resources.
Yes.
Yeah, without just them getting it, like getting disturbed or being abused.
Yes.
So it's basically what you are saying, and you give me a new perspective. I think as as people, like as individuals, when we complain about things like black tax,
Yeah.
we end up also becoming a black tax to our business.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
Yes.
like the point that you're trying to make, that
Yes.
this business just started generating money,
Yes.
and you're all in here with your bills of your
True.
lifestyle.
True.
I love that. So the best thing that you do is actually reinvest in.
Yeah, reinvest in your business. I mean, it's your business. It's nobody else's business. If you
Yeah.
reinvest in your business, keep growing it. You'll be good.
Yeah, bro. Like I couldn't disagree more with that. Because I mean, I couldn't agree more with that, because even like my podcast setup,
Yeah.
it branched out from the barbershop.
Yeah.
You know, one time, in fact, soon, I think by next month, we'll be getting paid for this podcast.
Yes.
So it's creating these assets, you know,
Yes.
that keep coming back on your side.
For example, I believe like the perspective I have for life, I'm currently 26 years of age. By the time maybe I reach 30, I honestly don't want to wake up and go to work. Like my daily routine, I want it to be me waking up, taking my children to school, making a few calls, checking emails, just making sure everything business-wise is still good, and relaxing, man. You know, if you go onto the N1 now, you'll see so many people going to vacation. On a daily basis, there's people going to vacation, people going to relax. Now we are here working hard, my brother. We are working hard. People are having a nice time of their lives on a daily basis. So if me and you as the youth of today work hard now, and we'll enjoy the rest later. Yeah, if we stop focusing on fashion now, on what's going on around us, we work hard, be simple, we'll be fine in the who's going to know when I know about the Nike, no tsamaya di iPhone, no di Hennessy, no Jabanyana, no Wirang. And it's also important for you as a businessman to have that one girl who you know you are going to grow with. For you to have focus, and then you'll be fine. But if we focus as youth, if we put in the hard work, youth today don't want to put in the hard work. If we put in the hard work, or rather the smart work, we'll be fine. Yeah, we'll phela monate for the longest time. You won't drink Hennessy today, and then tomorrow you don't have money to take out babalas. You won't buy an iPhone, and then tomorrow you don't have a data man. You see, like Samsung. Not to say I don't afford an iPhone. But I always have airtime. I always have that. Some iPhone users, my brother. It's simple, such simple things. If we prioritize the needs first and forget, I think as the youth we need to forget about the wants and focus on the needs, and then we'll be fine. We'll be a youth that brings change to our society. But if we continue being the youth that we are right now, a youth that doesn't want to put in the smart work and the hard work, there's nothing we're going to do for our society in the next coming future.
Yeah. No, I have no doubt with some of your goals that you have, because the market that you are in is actually one of the lucrative market here in Bloemfontein. I was actually checking out the economic analysis of it. Bloemfontein, the number 2 main contributors to the economy of Bloemfontein is students, and your business operates around that.
Targeted. Yes.
Your target market is actually students.
And I'm proud to say I'm one of the longest saving student, basically student business. Yeah. I'm one of the longest saving student businesses, because each and every one I started business with is no longer here. Like each and every aspect of the business that I started with is no longer here, and yeah, I'm proud.
Let's talk about just before we close. Let's talk about boredom. Like other people might have left not because they failed, but because they felt like I'm here and maybe my peers are somewhere in the office. I'm doing this one thing over and over. Let's talk about the boredom and consistency, like doing one thing throughout, knowing maybe the results that you're thinking in your mind.
Yeah.
How do you like navigate your mind around that? Because I mean, you here, right? Lifting assets from asset, maybe failing forward. And sometimes it feels like, I don't know if it ever hits you,
Yeah.
but for me, I would get it sometimes that, what's going on? And I would have to have that conversation with myself,
Immediately you have that conversation with yourself, ne? Then you must know you're on the right track. Once you start saying, hey, like once you start having doubts and maybe dealing with challenges or maybe needing to have a self introspection, ne? Then that's when you know that, no man, this is the right thing. Whatever I'm doing is the right thing. You understand? Boredom is very critical. I'd say, but with boredom, it's either you make it or you break it. So once boredom kicks in, it's either you're going to allow it to make you who o tlo e dumella you ire motho o e seng yena. Understand? But whereas if I dumelle, you are going to stick on and stay true to your calling, if I may put it that way. What you expose yourself with, is very important. What you put, like what you put yourself into, is very important. If you are failing maybe at being consistent at something, maybe end up dropping out, maybe end up failing. I think maybe it's just because you were not focused enough, or maybe you were not determined enough, or maybe you were not goal driven enough.
I hear you.
Yeah, so it's very important for you. I think that's one of the things that I've been saying, but indirectly so, being goal driven. Yeah, I studied for 5 years, and my course was only 3 years. The people I came with when I did first year, I'm proud to say some of them graduated with their honors when I was doing my undergrad. But I didn't be that character who will say, nah, I'm leaving it, because I just kept on being consistent. Discipline is like, consistency is not like this. Consistency is like this. There's this poster that shows consistency, that consistency is not a straight line. Consistency is going up, down, like doing it even if it's difficult. That's consistency. Dealing with those challenges on a daily basis. That's consistency. Because you are doing it each and every day as it comes. I understand. So yeah.
No, bro. Thank you so much. My last question is this question. So when I started Aswai, I noticed that as people we're actually going somewhere, there's a destination that we project in our mind, that we want to arrive here. Some arrive in that, some arrive to that destination, and some quit in a way, like you said. And then some just never think of there's a destination that they have to reach. So when you get to your destination, as you are moving, what would you like to hear from yourself when you arrive, and from us as the community, and from your family? Like when you get there and you finally like open that door and you get into the reality of your dreams, what would you like to what do you hope yourself is going to say to you at that moment, and what do you hope, like, as the community, or you wish we can say, and again, what do you wish your family can say?
Like the words.
Yeah.
Like, let me say, open and can not
Yeah.
successful.
Dreams have just become like reality.
Yo, I think I'd tell myself that, amen. Thank you for not giving up.
Yeah.
Thank you for continuing to be mad. Thank you for being different, and thank you for dreaming, man.
Yeah.
For dreaming. That's what I'd like to maybe hear
Yeah.
from myself, from my community. I think it would be good hearing my community in Tlotla.
Yeah.
Wabona?
Yeah.
I think it would be great hearing my community in Tlotla, them being proud of me and them showing me where I come from and them being appreciative of where I'm at. Wabona? And ish to my parents, fana, yo. Ish, I can just imagine my mom saying, "Hulukile ngwanaka."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah, hulukile ngwanaka. From my dad, born, I know he sees me as his king. Can just hear him saying, "My son,
O kgotlheletse, my boy.
o kgotlheletse, you made it. Yeah, you made me proud." There's one person that I'll continue making proud, my mom and dad, but my dad, considering that I'm his only son, like he looks up to me and I look up to him. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, I hope to hear those words one day.
Bro, no doubt. I wish you all the best with that journey. And from me, I'm saying, bro, I'm proud of you. As a person that's within your space.
Yeah.
I know how difficult entrepreneurship is.
Yeah.
There are days where you feel like you're just not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you meet difficult customers, you know.
True.
So they would make you feel a certain way, but you still standing. And
Yes.
I can see the reflection of your words into your life when you say you show up every day. Like I said,
Yeah.
I see this man on the street every time, you know. So I'm very proud of you and for the journey that you have traveled. And I'm also glad that you also have it in mind that this journey that you are traveling, you are not traveling it for yourself only.
Yes.
There are people that are actually on your shoulders for it, and there are some people that are actually waiting on the stage that's gonna be unlocked when you get there. They'd be like, we've been waiting for someone like you.
Yeah.
You speak about funding, you speak about the resources, being resourceful in the business. All those challenges, they one day gonna be faced by someone else who will
Yes.
be in these shoes.
Yes.
And you will be that person who will be like, I understand.
Yes.
If we la khotella, or you will be that person who like, I understand. Tshwara se senyane se ke nang le sona, I understand. So I'm glad that you also understand that you are not in this journey for yourself.
Alone, yeah.
That's what I also realize to myself. I'm like, man, there's just many people that would trust that you actually do it.
Yes.
My brother, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate this conversation. And I wish you all the best with your goals this year.
Yes.
Business goals. Otherwise, from me, I'm out. Please don't forget to subscribe. I do want to say this. I send all my sincere condolences to the family that lost those 13 kids in the Val accident. Did you hear about that?
That's very, very, very sad.
It's so sad, bro.
You know, when someone older passes on, we try to say it's okay.
Yeah.
But with someone who's young, who's still yet to live, someone who still has dreams, future leaders, it's not easy to say it's okay, but condolences to the family.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I saw the video in this morning. I'm like, yeah, these are dreams that died.
Yeah, dreams that got shut up.
Yeah, you understand, never got a chance to express themselves. So please don't forget to subscribe. And if you benefited from this conversation, please share it with your friends that might actually need it. Thank you so much from us. Until we see you next time again.
Tango. Yo, my brother.